Hey guys, coming in for my second video. I think I've gotten rid of the echo issue that I had before. We'll see. So same situation as before. I'm about to go pick up my kids from daycare, and I just thought I would take a little minute to do something creative before I go and get them. So um, this little exercise that I'm about to do with you guys, I think is it's not really so much as an arts and crafts tool as much as it's like almost kind of like a psych trick. I personally love to do this if I'm listening to a long lecture, sometimes in church, if I'm listening to a long sermon. I have a really hard time focusing if I'm just like looking at the speaker and trying to absorb everything that they're saying. So sometimes I find that doing something with my hands that doesn't take a whole lot of thought, that's just kind of all about just the action of doing, I can retain what the person is saying better. So I was always the person in class that would get in trouble for doodling on my paper because I could just hear and listen better if I was doodling and just kind of mindlessly doing little scribbles and stuff in the margins. So anyway, so we're going to be jumping into that. The other thing that's great about this, I'm going to go ahead and show the picture that we're going to be working on, is this is a great warm-up exercise if you are getting ready to draw or paint something, or really if you're just like familiarizing yourself with realism, if you're working on training yourself to draw or paint in realism, and you're getting used to like where values are on shapes, where the light hits forms, where things get light and dark and there's shadow. We're going to be isolating those bits of light within the picture, and you'll see what I mean in just a second. And so it kind of, it's really fun to do, but it also is a great exercise for just seeing where light hits three-dimensional objects. So this picture that I picked, my husband and I just watched the first episode of One Piece, the live action representation on Netflix, and it was really fun. So I think this character's name is Nami, and she's super cute, and I just thought it would be fun to print this out from the computer and do it. So obviously if you don't have a printer, that's not a big deal. Like I said, I was doing this in church yesterday just with the brochure that they handed out. There's a pretty picture of clouds on the front of the little brochure, and so I just had a pen and I was just doodling so I could audio process what was going on. And you could use a magazine, you could use whatever you have lying around, but I have a printer. I don't have magazines, and I drew on my brochure from yesterday, so I don't have that. So I decided to print something out. So I'm just taking a pen. This is like a knockoff of a Micron pen. I think it's actually by Sharpie, but Micron is the kind of the top. But if you're not fancy, it's not a big deal. Use a pencil, use a colored pencil, crayon, ballpoint pen, whatever you have. And so really, the idea is to not be like super precious about it. You're just kind of going in there, and we're doodling. So we're just drawing around the light that we see in the shape. So anywhere that you see that value change, you're just kind of encapsulating it with line. There. I think you should still be able to hear me now. We actually did an exercise like this in art school, and I think that we are meant to keep it pretty simple, but that just is not how I do. And so my instructor laughed at me when I came in with my piece the next day because I did major overkill, but it was a good time. So I just kind of went a little extra on the assignment. And so, yeah, if you're not having to listen to something and you're just trying to pay attention to what it is that you're drawing, you kind of start to notice patterns with where the light is falling on the face. So like I said, this is really great training if you are just kind of like warming up, getting used to doing things in realism, and you aren't totally familiar with shading three-dimensional forms yet. This kind of helps you look at forms differently, because our eyes and our brains are amazing things, and they're able to just kind of make up information, which is a fantastic function to have in our bodies and in our daily life. But it does make it harder to render realism accurately, because our brains just kind of want to fill in the blanks without actually deducting what those blanks are. And so when you're creating something, when you're creating an art piece and you're trying to stay true to what the actual form is, you have to see all of those blanks. You can't just really make it up. I guess even that's not entirely, well, I guess again, we're talking about realism. I was going to say impressionists kind of, lean into the fact that our brains make up the missing information, because our brains can. But so it just depends on the kind of art that you're trying to make. But I personally am usually going for at least a little bit of realism. Well, I'm obviously not done, but I do have to go and get my girls now. But I highly encourage anyone to try this exercise out. It is a really good time. Um, I personally, uh, I just love it for any situation. If I'm just being bored listening to something, if I'm listening to a podcast, if I'm trying to listen to, like I said, like a super long explanation of something, or if I'm trying to remind myself what 3D forms look like in light and dark, it's just fantastic for all of those situations. So I hope that that was a fun time. Please comment if you have any questions, or again, if you have done something like this, then please send me pictures. Like, show me what you're working on, because I love to see what other people are working on. Thanks.